All right, so in this video, I'm going to be doing a review of the Stirling Kit 5-cylinder radial engine. And this is a real working radial engine, guys. The prop moves as well as a lot of the parts. It's battery powered and also has a cord you can plug in. It's by a company called Teching, and it comes in this tin can, which is pretty beefy. I think it's pretty cool they did that. It's unique. On the back, there's not a lot of information, just has, some basic stuff about the actual charging voltage, product model, and that kind of thing. So I do want to thank MoyuStore for sending me this to review for you guys. If you want to purchase, I will put a link in the video description below. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take a look at what's inside. Go ahead and remove the tin top here. Looks like it's pretty well packed, which I like to see. And then the first thing we have is an instruction manual, which of course we'll get into here in a little bit. And it looks like it's organized in these little styrofoam cutouts here. This looks like some small parts, screws. And then over here, same thing, just accessories we're gonna need to assemble it. And I do like that they have it labeled. So we'll need these for the instructions. It'll refer to which part that we need to install and where. And I like that because sometimes, especially these parts, look a lot alike. And then at the bottom here, let's see if I can get this out. All right, so that was a bit of a struggle to get this out of the bottom of the tin can. Just so you know, there's nothing underneath here. So if you get this kit, you don't need to take this out. All right, so this is everything that came in the box. I also wanted to show you something really cool. Since my channel is based on military vehicles and models, this is a 132 scale Dauntless pre-built by Elite Force. And the reason why I wanted to show you this today is not only is it one of my favorite World War II aircraft, but it also had a radial engine. Now, of course, it had 9 cylinders instead of 5, but in World War II, a lot of aircraft had radial engines, so I figured it was something I would show you guys just to kind of relate to my channel. All right, so let's get to the assembly. We'll take a look at the instruction manual here. First thing when you open it up, looks like it has a little parts diagram showing where everything is and the names. And here we go. So we have the assembly instructions. And then it also has some lubrication points. Of course, this is a working engine, so these parts are going to be moving. Now, mine, I don't think came with any lubrication, so it was supposed to, but as I was taking a look at the parts, other YouTubers that had installed this had oil in this section here. I don't have any. And then when I looked in this little box here, which I'll get out, has a little more of the smaller parts. I didn't see any oil either. And it says labeled right there, lubrication oil. So it's okay though, it's not a big deal, honestly. I have some PTFE, which should be fine. So if you get this kit, it's supposed to come with oil, but mine didn't, not a big deal. All right, so first up, we're gonna be assembling the pistons with the connecting rods. As you see here, looking at part number 16 and part number 20. So we'll pull up this right here. And then like I said, this is where the labeling really comes into play. That really helps. So here's number 20, one of the connecting rods there. And then one of the piston heads, we'll just take this out of here. And again, these pieces are all metal, guys, so they really do seem like good quality. They're aluminum, but they feel like they're really well made. Okay, so it did say to lubricate these holes right here, so we're just gonna take some PTFE oil and put it in the holes on this Q-tip. Same thing with these holes. Got a little bit of oil on my hands, so don't worry about that. Okay, next up, it says take number 14, and it looks like we're gonna put that in here, which is the connecting rod. So we'll go ahead and pull up right here, number 14. So we'll just take one of these, and then it doesn't say to lubricate this. And all we're gonna do is we're just gonna slide it in like this, and then take a little rod and push it in. And it moves pretty freely. Okay, so it looks like the only thing we're gonna need for the pistons are these little connecting clips right here, these little snap rings, which are in this little case right here. And if you look at the case, it actually has some where it's supposed to be labeled where they are. And I think it's talking about these 2.5, what they're called SIR clips right here on the back. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take them out. Now, there are 5 pistons because it's a 5-cylinder engine. So I'm gonna go ahead and install those separately after I show you how to do one, because you don't need to see me do all of them. But there's one of the clips right there, and we're gonna need 2 of these. And the way that they go on is right here, you have a little gap at the top. So you wanna make sure you're sliding it in straight. And then once you get it lined up, you can actually use the back of the tweezers, push it in like that. So here are all the 5 pistons assembled, and they went together really easy. It even included 1 extra snap ring, which I appreciate, especially because they're so small, and they move really well. You can tell here. And there was 1 different connecting rod. It was this little piece right here. You can see it has a cutout, and these other ones don't. It was number 17 in the instructions, which was right here. And it looks like next up, we're going to be installing everything in the crankcase here. So we'll need number 1, 59, and 40. And I believe this is number 1 here. This is the crankcase, which also comes with the cord. We're also going to need part number 40, and we'll need some bearings, which is part number 59 right there, which should be these right here. And now we're just going to take the crankcase and the bearing's just going to fit right here in the middle. And then what I'm going to do is just use the back of my pliers here and push it in like that. Next, we're going to take the crankshaft, slide it through the bearing here so it goes all the way down. Now we're going to do the 5-star link block here, which is part number 19, and we're going to use bearing 59 as well, which there's only 2 of those. And then after that, we're going to do the linkage, which we'll install like this with the piston coming down. And over here, we have number 19. And then we also need number 59 bearing. Next, we're just going to slide this piece right on top of the crankshaft, and then we're going to take the bearing. Then we're just going to push it down, which it actually went in pretty easy. So next up, we're going to go ahead and install the top piston here. And this one's a little different than the other pistons. I was showing you it was number 17 in the parts because it has this little cutout notch. This little flat piece is where the piston slots into, and that's why that notch is cut out, because it's going to go like that. And then it says we need number 13, which is this guy right here. All right, and to install the rest of the pistons, we're going to need 61, which is these screws here, 18, and then the rest of 13. Looks like 18 is right here. And then 61, we have these screws right here, M2 by 6, and there's 6 of them I'm going to get out. And then we have the rest of 13. Next up, we're going to install this piece, and this is going to go face down like that, which is going to lock into place. And then we're going to take the screws, and we're going to screw it into those slots right there. There we go. Next up, we're going to install this part of the crankshaft. So we'll need 1 of these screws, number 61, a lock washer, number 55, and then this part 35, which 35 is going to be here. And then you're going to see this little cutout here, and those are going to line up. And then I already went ahead and put the lock washer on the screw. There we go. Now we're going to go ahead and install the rear cover, and these are the parts we're going to need. 2 of number 64. Number 31, 2 number 52s, 1 26, 1 number 49, 1 number 58 bearing, 2 number 60 screws, number 2, and number 38. This actually looks like the motor. We'll start with the motor first because that's what it looks like. The motor's going to go into this slot here, and then you're just going to take these screws right here and screw them in. And after the motor's installed, you're going to take this gear sleeve right here and slide it over. Next up, you're going to take the gear itself, and you're going to line up the gear with that cutout and push it down like that. Next, you're going to take these little posts here and screw them in. Next up, you're going to take this little bracket here and put it on top. And there it is, completed. Now we're going to go ahead and install the rear cover, and these are the parts we need. But if you see this little water droplet, we need to lubricate this section right here. Then we're going to need gear number 24, and then part number 48, which is actually going to be this rear crankshaft bushing in here. And we're going to need 5 of these part number 67 screws. And we also need to install this bearing on this back side, and then 1 on the inside like this. All right, so you're going to take this gear, you see our little notches, line it up with that. You're going to kind of have to use some force to push it down. Next up, you'll take this piece, put it on top, make sure the lip is on the top section, and then we're going to take the back. So we're just going to line it up, slide it in like that, where it goes through the bearing, and then again, this is going to go to the bottom, and then we're going to screw them in. Next up is the motor cover assembly. Right here, we have part number 36, and then 2 screws, number 65. And here's part number 36. and 2 of these number 65 screws. So this section is going to go on the top, which is also going to hold the bearing in, and then these 2 little holes are going to line up, and that's where you're going to screw in. And then this bottom section is going to be where the cord's going to go through. And next up is the cam and the cam gear. So part number 42, 41, we'll need these screws, number 65. So number 42 and 41 come as one piece, and the screws are number 65 screws, which are the same ones we just used. Now we're just gonna flip this over and make sure that this hole lines up with these holes here, and then we're gonna go ahead and screw these screws in to the back. All right, so now it's time to install some of the gears. So we're gonna need gears number 23, 25, we're gonna need part 45, 58, 32, and 22. Here are gears number 23, and there's 2 of them. And then we'll also need gear number 22, and the 2 gears number 25, part number 32. And we're gonna need 2 of the gear shafts, part number 45, and 2 more of the bearings. Also, make sure to lubricate this gear here, guys, that attaches to the motor gear. I didn't do that at first. I just went back and read the instructions, and it's pretty important to do that. I did show it to y'all, but I didn't do it. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is take one of the bearings, slide it over this. Then we're gonna take the gear assembly we just did, slide that on top of that bearing so it'll rotate freely. The other bearing is gonna go on the inside right here. Next, we're gonna take this piece, and then these little holes are gonna go up. And then after that, we're gonna take these little pieces here, and they have a cutout, a slot on one side. That's actually gonna go in the up position. And you can see the slots right there and there. Next, we're gonna take gear number 22, this bigger gear here with a cutout, and work it down like that. After that, you take these smaller gears, and they also have a cutout as well. Slide it in like that. Same thing on the other side. And then you kind of wiggle it down where the gear fits in place. And then these bigger gears, these are gonna go down. And then they're gonna line up with the center gear. I got a little bit of lubricant there, and then we'll move it around. That's really smooth, and those bearings are working good. All right, so now for a fun part, we're gonna go ahead and get to install the prop. We're gonna need part number 46, 34, 47, 67, they put a little mark out there, and then 57, 3, and 30. Number 46 is gonna be in here. Number 34, of course, is the prop. Number 47, those 67 screws are gonna be down here. And then part number 57 is right here, as well as number 30. And then part number 3 is gonna be here. Okay, so first, we're gonna take this dark gray piece, number 30, slide it over there. Next up, we're gonna take this cover, put it on top, and then we're gonna line it up with those screw holes there. Okay, and I did wanna point something out that's not in the instructions. These 2 posts with those holes right there, it's very important that you line them up with these right here, like that. And now, those posts are in that slot, and now those gears can't come out. All right, the next step, we're gonna take this bearing here. Then we're gonna take this with the lip facing down towards the bearing. Then you're gonna line it up with that notch right there. And then you're gonna take this right here, and then you're gonna screw it on. Okay, and so I just realized something. It's actually a different size. So if you look at the instruction manual here, it says 67, but I think that actually is a 65. Okay, so now we're getting into the intricate stuff. This is the rocker arm assembly we're gonna be installing now. Okay, so 54 is right here, 56 is here. Okay, so here's part number 15. We're gonna need 10 of these. All right, and then we're gonna need 5 of number 11, 10 of 29, and 10 part number 50, as well as 51. All right, then we're gonna need 5 of these, 5 number 8s, 10 21s, and I think we're gonna need 40 of these 65 screws. And then we're gonna need 10 of these number 10s, and then 10 of these number 9s. So for the rocker arm assembly, we're gonna start off with one of these, and then we're gonna take with the rocker arms here, and then this part is gonna go like that. We're gonna take one of these lock washers here, like that. Accidentally picked up 2. Then we're gonna take a nut, and we're gonna screw it on. We're gonna do this twice, and I also just use my needle-nose pliers to tighten that nut down. So now that we've got 2, we're gonna take one of these right here, and we're gonna slide them on, and that right there. All right, so next up, we're gonna take this, take 2 of these, we're gonna put them up through the top like that, and then we're gonna take 2 springs. Then we're going to take these, and these have threads on the inside. We're going to screw them onto this part right here. Look at that. And it didn't say to put oil, but I actually went ahead and put some lubrication and oil in there, and it moves much better now. Next up, I think it's supposed to be a spark plug, and you're just going to screw it in right here. All right, so next up, we're going to need one of these through the back like that. And then it's going to mount up against here. All right, so that's the first part of the assembly. So next up, we're going to put these pieces on, and it's going to be part 65, 12, 65 here, number 4, and we need to lubricate that right there. And we're going to do 5 of these, but I'm going to show you one. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and install the rocker arm assembly that we did earlier. And we're just going to put it right here, like that. And then be careful because it does want to fall back. So you just kind of hold it with your hand, put one of these on here, and then we're going to put the screws in, like that. Okay, and the next up, we're going to take the actual cylinder block and we're going to lubricate it really well inside of there because the piston's going to be going around and actually moving. All right, and then after you have it lubricated, you're going to line these screw holes up with this right here. And then you're just going to take some screws and come in from the top right here. All right, and there's the cylinder block assembly. Now I just need to make 5 of these and I'll get back. All right, so all 5 of the cylinder block assemblies are completed and they look really good. And to install them, we're just going to use part number 65, all those screws. I'm going to install the top cylinder first. One thing I'd suggest doing is lubricating the outside of the piston as well. So just get a little oil on a Q-tip or something and do that. That way, whenever you put on the cylinder, it just has a little bit of extra lubrication. And any of the cylinders will work. They're all the same. You're going to slide it on just like this and then make sure the rocker arms are facing this way. All right, so all 5 cylinders are on and it looks really good. It feels pretty solid too. It's very heavy, so the quality's definitely there. And just to show you, all the pistons operate smoothly in the cylinders. Next up, we have the rocker arm ejector rod sleeves, which are going to go here and here. And then we need part number 27. Here are all the pieces for number 27. And the sleeves just fit in these 2 holes right here. Just drop them in like this. And we'll do that for all 5. And then next up, we just need to install the rocker arm ejector rods, which are going to go right here into the rocker arms and then down into the sleeves we just installed. Part number 33. You're going to lift up the rocker arm and then slide the rod in like that. And then we're going to do that for each one. One thing I would also suggest is lubricating those holes right there. All right, we're almost done. We're on to the base now. We're going to need part number 28, 6, and then some of these screws from 62. And then part number 28 is going to be this last piece right here. And then part number 6 is the base, which is going to be right here. And then we'll just need some screws. And it's going to be 2 of these 62 screws, M3 by 8. All right, and these are the 2 screws. They're the bigger ones. What I suggest doing is getting some tweezers and then turning your base over, putting the screws in first, because it's going to be kind of hard to get the screws in upside down. And then putting the spacer on, and this is a metal spacer by the way, guys. Lining it up, and then you want to make sure the Teching logo is facing forward. And there we go. There it is on the base, and that looks really good. We're almost done. I think next we have the switch plug. Let's see. Yep, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and install the switch plug. Look, here's a circuit board, 44, 39, and then 37. And we're going to go ahead and get those. So here's the circuit board. Looks like 37 is the battery, because you can actually use the battery or plug it in. Okay, and then the switch and the charging plug are number 43 and 44 in this little case here. So I was trying to look all over for them. I didn't realize they put them in this case. So this is the charging plug. And then this should be the switch. And the last piece we're gonna need, it's number 6, number 7, it's down here. There's a little plate. You're gonna have to dig it out. And this is the plate that's gonna cover up the circuit board under the base. Okay, so to install the power switch, you have this little nut. You're gonna actually remove it and put this on after you slide it in, so that way it secures it to the base. So we'll take that off. And then top portion has this cutout. Just gonna slide it in like this. Like that. And then we're gonna put this nut back on. And I just hand thread it and get some needle nose pliers, kind of open it up and twist it until it gets tight. And then next up, we have the switch. This has little locking clamps on the side that'll automatically lock once you push it down. So pick the orientation you want and then just snap it into place like that. And there's one more plug, which is the motor plug. We need to actually thread through here. It's got a little opening. Probably should have done this first before I screwed it in, but it's fine. Okay, so real quick, I want to show you the diagram of the circuit board. It's a little confusing and it doesn't look like the one pictured here. It does also come with this cord, which is right here. You can see they put the sticker over the original diagram, but this is actually going to be the battery number 37, this cord right here. And then right here, you can see the switch is going to go to this port right there, which is the only cord that's a different size. And then number 38, which is the outer switch, is actually the motor that we installed originally. And then this right here on the far left is the power cord. Okay, so I'll show you the switch first, which is this bigger cable here. And it's the only big cable, so that one's pretty easy. We have the power, which is going to go to this outer cable here. This is for the battery, which I'll go ahead and show you what size battery this is for anyone that wants to know. It's a 450 milliamp battery. So the battery connects like this, and then we're actually going to put the battery in the bottom. All right, and then once you get everything in place, you're just going to use these little screws. Okay, so this is what it looks like when the circuit board's installed. One thing to be careful of are these two connections here. They barely fit past the circuit board, and then the cables go down. And then I fit the battery like this long ways. Next, we're gonna install the bottom plate onto the base. Okay, so here it is completed, guys. I'm really happy with this build. It was really fun, honestly. If you like building Legos or models and things like that, then I really think you'll enjoy this. Minus the little things here and there, like this cable. Some of these connectors here needed to be burred out, or those holes needed to be burred out just a little bit. They probably would have fit fine, but just make sure you're using oil. I think your kit should have come with oil. It said so in my box, and the other reviewers I saw online had oil. But it's not a big deal. And now we're just gonna plug it in. And it came with a standard USB cable. It didn't come with a charging brick, but that's fine. And I did make sure it's in the off position. So all you have to do is plug it in. It was a tight fit for me at first. I just had to wiggle it a little bit and it went in. And let's see this thing work. All right, let's go ahead and turn it on. Make sure your hand's not in the way of the prop. That is so cool. You can see the pistons and the gears. All right, and here's a view from the back. All right, so now we're gonna test the battery. I'm gonna remove the plug. Awesome, works great, guys. Thanks again to MoyuStore for sending me this to review for you guys. I'll put a link in the video description below if you want to purchase one. And if you do, it helps out this channel as well. I get a little bit of the kickback if you purchase one of these using the link below. So thank you guys for watching this. I appreciate it, and stay tuned for the next video.